Welcome back to another ukulele tutorial. I'm Lara, and today's lesson is on the I. This is a beautiful song, and this lesson is going to be focused on how to play the riff that appears in the introduction and in the middle of the song, and how to fingerpick the verses and the chorus. You'll find the lyrics and the chords on screen throughout this lesson, and you can also download them as a PDF from a link down in the video description. I want to point out that I'm playing a tenor with a low G. If you want to learn the riff in this song, as well as some of the fingerpicking patterns, you're going to want a low G on your instrument. If you have a high G, you can follow this entire tutorial. Just keep in mind that some of the patterns will sound a bit different on your instrument because your fourth string will be one octave higher than mine. First, let's take a look at how to play the chords in this song. Our first chord is F. This is the first fret of the second string and second fret of the fourth string. Our next chord is C, third fret of the first string. Then we have our G chord. This is the second fret of the first and third strings and the third fret of the second string. Next we have G7, which is also the second fret of the first and third strings, but the first fret of the second string. And finally we have our A minor chord, which is the second fret of the fourth string. Next we'll take a look at the riff that appears twice in this song. First in the introduction, and then again in the middle of the song. This is 4 measures of tablature. So let's take a close look at how to play it. First I'll play this riff so you can hear how it sounds, and then we'll walk through how to play it. Now let's move through the 4 measures of this riff. Our first measure starts off with our index finger on the first fret of the second string and our ring finger on the third fret of the first string. We're going to pick strings 1 and 2 together, and then our next note is the open first string. We have 2 options here. We can pick strings 1 and 2 and then pick the first string, or we can pick strings 1 and 2 and do a pull-off on the first string. Next we're picking the second string, leaving our index finger on the first fret. And then we're placing our ring finger down on the third fret of the second string and playing strings 2 and 3 together. Then we have our open fourth string. Then we're going back to the second string, back to the fourth string, and then once again we're playing strings 2 and 3 together. Now I'll play this first measure at a nice slow tempo. Our second measure is the same as the first. For our third measure, we're starting off the same way, but then we change about halfway through the measure. So here's the familiar part. And then we're going to pick strings 2 and 3 together, keeping our ring finger on the third fret of the second string. Then we're going back to the open fourth string. Then we're going to play our F chord and pick strings 1 and 2 together. And then we'll pick the fourth string, second fret. And then we're placing our pinky down on the third fret of the first string and playing strings 1 and 2 together. And then our next note is the open first string. So here again, we can either pick both notes or we can do a pull-off. Keeping our F chord, we're going to play the second string, first fret, and then we're going up to the 7th fret of the first string with our pinky, and then down to the 3rd fret of the 1st string with our ring finger. To finish out this 4th measure, we have all open strings. So we're playing the 4th string, the 2nd string, 4th string again, and then finishing with strings 2 and 3 together. Now here's the entire riff played at a nice slow tempo. Into verse 1. At the end of each verse and throughout each chorus, we're going to apply a Travis picking pattern that sounds like this. Let's take a close look at how to play this pattern. If you're already familiar with it, then you can skip ahead. Here's our Travis picking pattern played nice and slow on a C chord. I'm starting by picking strings 1 and 4 together with my thumb and my middle finger. Then I'm picking string 3 with my thumb, string 2 with my index finger, back to string 4 with my thumb, string 1 with my middle finger, and I'm finishing on string 3 with my thumb. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now here's how it sounds to play this pattern, bringing it up to the tempo of this song. For the verses, every line starts off the same way as the 1st measure of our riff. We're also playing the same notes in this measure again in lines 1 and 3. So first I'm going to play through this first verse so you can hear how it sounds, and then we'll walk through it. It really breaks my heart to see a dear old friend go down to the worn out place again. Do you know the sound of a closing door? Have you heard that sound somewhere before? Do you wonder if she knows you anymore? For the first line, going back and forth between F and C, we're essentially playing the first 2 measures of our riff. Now adding in the lyrics of the first line. It really breaks my heart to see a dear old friend. For line 2, we're starting off in a similar manner until we get to our G chord. So we're starting off with the first 4 notes of our riff. Then we're going to our G chord and picking all 4 strings. Then we're doing the same on A minor, and the same on F. And then we're going to play a little pattern on our C chord. This chord is a C chord variation, and I'm only using strings 4, 3, and 2. I have my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, which is a G note. To play this pattern, I'm starting by picking strings 2 and 3 together. Then I'm picking string 4, 3, 2, back to 4, and finishing with strings 2 and 3 together. Here's this pattern at a slow tempo. This pattern is similar to what we play in our riff on our C chord. We're just adding in one more note on the third string. So to compare, this is what we play in our riff. And here's what we're playing in the verse. Now I'll play the entire second line, first instrumental only. Now adding in the lyrics. Go down to the worn out place again. Lines 3 and 4 are played the same way as lines 1 and 2. Do you know the sound of a closing door? Have you heard that sound somewhere before? Line 5 will be played the same way as lines 2 and 4 until we get to our second C chord. When we get to our second C, that's when we move into our Travis picking pattern. So we're starting off line 5 with the first 4 notes of our riff. Then we're going to pick all 4 strings on G, all 4 strings on A minor, all 4 strings on F, and then we'll play our Travis picking pattern once on C and twice on G. Now here's line 5, instrumental only. Now adding in the lyrics to line 5. Do you wonder if she knows you anymore? Now that we've played through verse 1, we've come to our first chorus. We're going to apply our Travis picking pattern to the entire chorus. We're going to play our Travis picking pattern twice on each chord for the first 3 lines. So starting on F, then going to C, back to F, then to G, then to our C chord, and back to F. When we get to line 4 of the chorus, we'll play our Travis picking pattern once on A minor, once on G7, and then once on C. After we play this pattern on C, we're going to finish this chord by picking strings 1 and 2 together. Here's how this sounds. After we play this pattern on C, then we're going to play the first measure of our riff. Now I'll sing from line 5 of verse 1 through the chorus. Do you wonder if she knows you anymore? I wrapped your love around me like a chain, but I never was afraid that it would die. You can't dance in a hurricane, but only if you're standing in the eye. After the chorus comes the second verse. This verse is played the same way as the first, with the same chord progressions and the same finger picking patterns. Let me demonstrate it for you. Where did you learn to walk? Where did you learn to run? Away from everything you love. And did you think the bottle would ever ease your pain? shame? Did you find someone else to take the blame? After our second verse comes the second chorus. This chorus is 6 lines long, and lines 5 and 6 are a repeat of lines 3 and 4. Now I'll start with the last line of the second verse and play through the second chorus. Did you find someone else to take the blame? I wrapped your love around me like a chain, but I never was afraid that it would die. You can't dance in a hurricane, but only if you're standing in the eye. You can't dance in a hurricane, but only if you're standing in the eye. If you're enjoying this lesson, please give this video a like, and thank you so much for subscribing. After our second chorus, we're coming back to our instrumental riff, the same one that we played in the introduction. Now I'll start playing from the last line of the second chorus through the instrumental. But only if you're standing in the eye. Now we've come to the bridge of the song. The bridge is 4 lines long, and lines 1 through 3 are played the same way as lines 3 through 5 of the verses. When we get to line 4, we're playing a different chord progression, and the melody goes in a bit of a different direction. When we get to the end of line 3 of the bridge, we're playing our Travis picking pattern on our G chord. The second time we play this pattern, we're moving into line 4. Then we play this pattern once on A minor, once again on G, and then twice on C. Now I'll play through all 4 lines of the bridge. I am a sturdy soul, and there ain't no shame in lying down in the bed you made. Can you fight the urge to run for another day? You might make it further if you learn to stay. Now we've come to our final chorus. This chorus is 6 lines long and is similar to the second chorus, except for line 4 is a bit different. So let's take a look. On line 4, we're going to play our Travis picking pattern twice on A minor, and then twice on G7. The melody is also slightly different on this line. Here's how it sounds. But only if you're standing in the eye. Now I'll play through the final chorus, starting from line 4 of the bridge. You might make it further if you learn to stay. I wrapped your love around me like a chain, but I never was afraid that it would die. You can dance in a hurricane, but only if you're standing in the eye. You can dance in a hurricane, but only if you're standing in the eye. Now we've come to our play along. I'm going to play through the entire song, instrumental only, so you can really hear how I transition between the riffs and the different fingerpicking patterns. The lyrics will be on screen, so if you'd like, you can play and sing along with me. If a slower tempo would be helpful, then feel free to slow down the playback speed of the video down in the video settings. 5, 6, 7, 8. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and learning how to play this beautiful song. Have fun practicing the I, and thank you for watching.